Hello and welcome to Forgotten Temples with myself, Mr. B. Now you find me walking up a bit of a causeway. We are flanked either side by these large stone blocks. And there would have been a room down here as well as here. So, as worshippers to the Kokur complex, because that's where we are, and this is Prasat Linga 4, we have done another two videos, in fact, Prasat Linga 1 and 2, but guess what? I come round the corner and they just get bigger, and I can't ignore that. This, as I say, has its own causeway that goes to the central feature, which is that building there. And it is massive. And what it has in it is a Shiva Linga. And as I've mentioned before, what these buildings isn't so much just religious buildings, let's say like a church. These are machines made of stone. They actually function, they actually operate, and they work to this day if you know how to use them. And what they will bring you is quite simply your heart's desires. A machine that brings your heart's desires sounds a bit too good, doesn't it? But that is what they were built for. And this one's a Goliath. So let's go and have a look. And this is where we took that opening shot. Now, do you remember me saying there's a large room to the left and the right? We'll look down there. And these are particularly large rooms. Now, what they were for, we can only guess. Maybe they were libraries for religious texts. But what we need to do is continue in the footsteps of those ancient worshippers from all those centuries ago, because this is the very path they walked, and this is the very reason they came here. But it's worthy of noting our surroundings to the right and to the left of us, and that is of jungle, because we are in an ancient city that has quite simply been forgotten. It was the city of Jayavarman IV, and he built some incredibly mighty temples here. And this temple, being the fourth of the Linga temple series, and the biggest I have seen so far, is incredibly impressive. But I need to show you that size, I feel. And here it is. And I really am compelled to show you how impressive this is. Now, firstly, I want you to take note. Look at the bottom of your screen. Notice the temple is right at the bottom here. And at the top, it is just literally in frame. I'm not cheating here. I will never cheat. I may be wrong because I'm an enthusiast. I'm not an expert. But look, this thing is pretty much as tight as I can get it. But now watch this. I've done this before because I love doing this, because it to me is showing respect to those ancient builders, because without giving you a idea as to size, what's the blinking point? I mean, we are not doing their might justice, and I'm very much my hope my mic holds out. But look, this is how big this thing is. And it's built for one purpose, and that is to hold a Shiva Linga. And that is what I'll be showing you next. That is after we've had a quick look around, because it's in there, in its very heart we have to go. And remember what I said, this is a functioning machine. Now, what we're looking for is the usual discrepancy in one of these walls, and it is not here. But we do yet again have this recess, which I feel, because underneath this rubble I know is a set of stairs. And I may be proved right in just a moment when we go round the corner here. And here we move round to that second side. And it's worth remembering that we're in the Kokur complex, a mighty abandoned city And this is just one of 40 temples here. And remember again how big this place is. And look, yet again, this mighty recess. Now, I've been thinking about this, and seeing as we have a Shiva Linga inside, maybe these recesses did in fact have some carvings, some sculptures, some fascia that did represent that mighty Lord Shiva. And it is here we see a difference, and my goodness, this one is very apparent. If we come up and get a bit closer, there would have been stairs here. I know that from seeing other temples in this complex that are identical, and we see what we've been looking for, and that is this hole. You see this? It is a spout, and out of here is the reason for the temple. The blessed water would have come this way, and here people would have collected it. But it's inside we need to go, on the other side of this wall, to see the workings of the actual stone machine itself. And this is our pathway up, and it's a beautiful thing, isn't it? I mean, it's terribly, sad that it's all broken down, but if you're going to take a walk, then clambering over some ancient ruins you've never been to before, knowing you're going to find something that is quite simply wonderful, staggering, awe-inspiring, a thing of such might, then it's a wonderful, wonderful walk, isn't it? And for the first time in this entire complex, I see offerings. And we get a good view now of our target, what we've come to see. And here it is, the Shiva Linga itself. Now, I have visited another two. Those videos are also on this channel, or soon to come. But this is the grandest of them all. And it's very difficult to film here because there's enormous masonry blocks everywhere. But this one is so much more accessible. Now, as to how it has survived in this very precarious form is quite incredible. And as to why this has gone is a mystery to me. This is not natural erosion. Somebody has actually attacked it by the look of it. I'm puzzled beyond puzzled as to why this damage has been done. It could of course be the Khmer Rouge, because they stole an awful lot of temples, a lot of statues and an awful lot of temple artifacts. And maybe this is one they were trying to get away with, because the damage done here is that of a bewildered monkey. It is just someone bashing away. They haven't thought it through at all. So it could have been the Khmer Rouge soldiers that we know were certainly in this area back in the 1970s. But we do have enough, even now, to see what an incredible, enormous stone this would have been carved from. And what would have happened, of course, is water would have been poured over the linga. It would have gone into the yoni, which is the base. This is a representation of a male penis. The yoni is a representation of the female productive organs. And the water would have flowed out through a channel there, the hole that we saw in the wall earlier. And let's go and finally see where the actual water went to. It's such a shame. This temple needs a bit of work on it. Look at this back wall here. It's starting to suffer, and when you get damage like this, it really only takes one or two of those main stones to go and your wall's gone. And from this angle, hopefully you can see much more clearly the damage that's been done to this. This should be a dome and a shaft coming down. But look what's happened here. It is the most bizarre thing. It doesn't look like root damage to me. And this back wall, well, that could be root damage. But I've seen situations in temples like this where the Khmer Rouge were just firing RPGs, rocket-propelled grenades, into temples. And maybe that's what's weakened it some, because there's all this fracturing of the rocks here. I don't know how well you can see that. And there's fracturing of the rocks here. And that just looks a bit strange to me. I don't really see that often with root damage. But if we continue the journey of the water, now this below me is where the yoni would have been, and it would have connected with this hole here, which is the outflow for the water. Now I know that this hole is actually, this shaft here is actually bent, because I've seen it from the other side, so you'll never see light coming through this one. But what we can see, which is rather interesting, is this ancient carved channel, and it looks very much like the channel in the king's tomb in the pyramids at Giza in Egypt. But of course it has a different purpose. Their channels were pointed at Orion, so the soul could travel to the stars. In this case, this channel is much more functional. It has a physical purpose, and that is to carry the blessed water out. And that is Prasat Linga number 4. I've filmed 3 of these Linga temples. This one I'm compelled to do so because it is the largest and the mightiest. But strangely enough, being the mightiest, it has suffered the most damage. And I've got a sneaking suspicion it's from those boy soldiers of the Khmer Rouge that went round basically killing innocent people and destroying such ancient wonders as this. But it still draws in people like myself, but there's nobody else here. This ancient city is devoid of people. There's a couple of locals, I'll give you that, but nobody else. And this was once a capital for Javiman IV, a king no less. But now it is just empty. Even the tourists don't come here very much. But we've been here, and it is truly a remarkable place. And if you get the chance, then do get down to Kokar and see this and many other wondrous temples. As always, this has been Mr. B. I ask you to like, subscribe and comment. And if you could, by chance, drop a few coins into my Patreon account, which is patreon.com/temples, I would be truly grateful. Until next time, I wish you absolutely nothing but the very best. You take good care now.